Good morning, Philippines, and good evening, US, and Happy New Year once again, everybody. I'm trying to figure out this lighting thing here. I want to show my great background. I'm so happy where I live, and I hope others, will move to Acacia. It's just a great place. I wanted to show the background, but I'm having a little problem with overexposure, that kind of thing. This is the best I can get it, but I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Just like many of you, or probably some of you, maybe in the Lonely Hearts Club band, as the Beatles famously said, and maybe you're looking for an instant Filipina girlfriend, right? And I've seen some topics on the internet about this, so I thought I'd talk about it. First off, there's no such thing as an instant girlfriend, just like there's no such thing as an instant wife. I hate to throw that reality out there. But what I wanted to go over was how to find a girlfriend and some of the differences that you may find with Filipinas. And I like to think I have some experience with this because I did come to the Philippines to find my wife, and I did marry her. We're still together after 12 years. I like to think that I know something about it. And there's lots of expats or foreigners out there, and they have these comments about Filipinas and relationships between foreigners and Filipinas. And many of them, haven't been married to a Filipina. And so I'm sure they have relationships with Filipinas. But, marriage is a whole different thing. And what leads up to marriage is also a different thing. And so I'd like to comment a little bit about that, and also this idea of an instant Filipina girlfriend. So there's lots of American men that I can see. I don't see too many of the other foreign men commenting on this, but I see a lot of American men saying, once you have a Filipina girlfriend, that's it. They're very possessive, and they want to hold you, and they don't want anyone else to see you. Or once you get to the Philippines, they're going to keep eyes on you, and they get very jealous and things of that nature. And so the first thing I can say is, yeah, it is different here. And Filipinos expect something different. And foreign men have a different idea about what a relationship is, too. So the first thing I'm going to say, and I hope this really sort of gets the point across, is, when you are here in the Philippines and you're with a woman and you're of marrying age, let's say 25 and above, but especially if you're older, like in your 30s or 40s, and you're with a woman, they're going to say, oh, your wife. Because for them, people get married and they expect that that's your wife. So at the airport, when I was, with my wife, Priscilla, he just naturally said, oh, say thank you to your wife. And that's not something that we would automatically assume in the US. Number one, because people get upset when you assume that, and marriage is not as common in the U.S. as it is in the Philippines. Now, you can't get divorced in the Philippines. People have to sort of work things out more. Sometimes they break up, but the point is that being together as a couple and being a married couple is much more common, and that is also, it doesn't really depend on your income or anything else. It's just that society expects that out of you. And so, I think when you meet a Filipina, they believe they're going to get married and that you have an interest in them, and they move it to the next level. And it happens very quickly. Now, in the US, this is like ancient history to most people. We had something called courting. And when you courted a girl or went on a date 4 or 5 times, it was considered, hey, you guys are a thing, And, not too long after that, you got engaged and then you got married. It wasn't, maybe in a year's time or something like that. And so in the US, we have a different idea about this instant relationship kind of thing, because now in the US, if you tell anyone I'm looking to get married, they're like, whoa, 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 hold on there. And, when I was looking, I was looking to get married in the US, and I said, hey, I really want to get married. And a lot of women, oh, no, I don't know. Let's take our time. And, before it was women who wanted to get married in the US and men didn't. And the women would insist upon it. I'm sure there were some men that did, but a lot of men, it's not like a top priority list. But now, if you even say to women you want to get married, no, 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 no. Let's delay this. Let's think about this. No, no. In the Philippines, when I met her father, God rest his soul, he said, "Okay, so when's the wedding?" It's like, hey, when is it happening? Because that's the way their culture operates. All right, that's you're a boyfriend girlfriend for a period of time. Now it can be longer, in the Philippines, boyfriend and girlfriend, but usually that's because of financial reasons that they're trying to take care of their parents, or they can't get married, they don't have a job yet, or they're going to school. It's not because they're not supposed to get married or want to get married. They delay that for a few years because in the Philippines, it's tradition to help the family out. And maybe they're working and they're putting a family member through college or through school. But it's also, that's why you'll find many, many middle-aged women in their 30s and 40s who are professional, who are college educated, who didn't get married because they were helping their family. And there's a very small supply of Filipino men who are college graduates. And many of these women will not marry someone who they think is, below them in status. So they're not going to marry someone who's not a college graduate. And if they're older, many men are going to marry a younger wife. And so, they're a very, very hard, difficult spot. And so, especially when they've taken, the guts, and for them, it's very embarrassing to go online and to speak. When they do that and they think someone has taken the time to meet them and say they like them, for them, marriage is the next step. All right. So they do move quickly. Now, part of that also is because, as we see in other videos on YouTube, a foreigner is a good catch, a quote unquote, a good catch, meaning that they are attracted to foreigners, and they may be younger women, they may be middle-aged women, but foreigners interest Filipinas, number one, and they're attracted. Filipinas are attracted to foreigners. They're just attracted to them. Now we have this thing, opposites attract, or just the way the foreigners look, but they are attracted to them. And there's, unlike the U.S., where we have a declining population, the Philippines is filled with many, many people. The population is very large. And so you have lots of women in their 20s and their 30s that want to get married. But, they're looking also of course, they're looking for a good catch, but they're looking to get married. Of course, there's some that may not be, but that is the norm in the Philippines. And so, of course, when they find something they like, they're attracted to, of course, for them, the next step is moving forward to go quicker. Okay. Now, in Americans' minds, that's like, oh, she's a gold digger. Well, she could be, she might not be. It's very common for Filipinas to move quickly and to move forward. And, I just want to say this too. I'll make another video about it. Filipinas are very, very strong women. Very, very strong. When you get in a relationship with a Filipina, they have certain ideas, and their personalities are very strong. Now, they're very sweet, they're very loving, but when they have an idea, they're going to do it. They're going to try to do it. And when trying to persuade them not to do something is very difficult. So, in their head, they're going to get married. They like you, they're going to get married. And for the Filipina that really loves someone, they're going to try to push this relationship forward. Now, of course, there's an economic component to this, where he's a foreigner, he might have money, he's also good looking. So for them, they're like, hey, what's not to like here? But they are going to move faster than American women or foreign women, or European women, whatever you want to say. Of course, I have more experience with American women. They want to get married. They want to move forward. They want to have kids. Now, it also depends on the age of the girl. If they're in their 30s, for Filipinas, they want to have a family. And that's the same thing for younger Filipinas. For them, starting a family when they're 23 is not unusual. My mother had me when she was 23, 24, in America back, I was born, back in the 60s. Um, so, and, Philippines is kind of a throwback country, more traditional country in that regard, that, getting married and having children and having a family at an earlier age is not unusual here. Now, so for an American, they might feel pressured. Why are you pushing me? I want to figure you out. I want to know you. And that's not a bad idea. I mean, there's no reason to say to the girl, I don't really know you that well. I'm interested in you. But this is the one key thing I would say if you really want to have an honest relationship with a Filipina. And that is to tell them what your intentions are. And now some of them may not believe you or try to convince you to get married or go into a relationship or something like that. But the real thing is to really try to be honest with them and say, listen, I need to take my time, and that's fine too. There's no reason, if you've come to the Philippines, you've corresponded on the internet, there's no reason why you can't tell someone, whoa, put the brake. There's nothing wrong with that. But hey, you're going to find resistance, and they're not going to like it. And I think the average girl will be like, yeah, okay, let's get to know each other. But after like 6 months to 8 months, if you come back for a second trip or you're corresponding, a lot of them are going to think they're wasting their time. So their time clock for relationships is completely different than an American woman's time clock. They're going to be like, you're wasting my time. I'm doing all this. We've met, we've dated, we've gone this. Hey, blah, blah, blah. Hey, what's the next step? Hey, you're wasting my time. So, within all of this, the relationship between, a Filipina and a foreigner, you have to kind of come to a common ground. You have to kind of meet in the middle. And like I said, the best way is to really explain yourself if you're an American man. Say, I'm interested in having a girlfriend, but I want to take my time. Like I said, their timing is a little bit different than what we have in the States, where you can go for years without, really taking things seriously. And, for the modern day, relationships in America, that's different than the past. A lot of people are more, independent. They're not as close as they used to be. They have different desires. But for the Filipina, of course, like I said, finding a foreign husband or a foreign boyfriend who has a good job, who may be able to help her financially, or, is also very attractive to them. Yeah, they're going to be very interested in you. But, I also would like to say that most Filipinas are not going to go with someone if they don't like them. I found, of course, there's always a few that are scammers and they're, that want money, or, they might be in love with the idea of being in love with a foreigner. That may be true. But most Filipinas are pretty sincere. Not all, not every American guy is sincere either. But I would say that most of them at least believe that they're in love with you. Now, for whatever reason, maybe it's because you're a foreigner, maybe because they think you have money, but the whole idea is they're attracted to you. Most Filipinos are not going to go with a foreigner, if they don't find them attractive in one way or another, right? Now, if you listen to a lot of videos with Filipinas, they'll say, I'm looking for someone with a good heart. And they will try to make a relationship work. Now, if you're a foreigner, maybe they'll try harder. If there's an age gap in that relationship, they may try to, sort of find the best out of that relationship. That you have a good heart, that you may be able to provide for her, even if you're, older. But I think, time has proven that in many cases, Filipinas do marry older men and they stay with them. Does every Filipina stay with an older man? No. Okay. That doesn't happen. But a lot do. And that goes back to their culture. It goes back to the tradition of marriage in the Philippines is for life. When you make a deal with marriage, or you make that pledge to God, they're going to fulfill that pledge. And that is something that we really don't have in America with a 50% divorce rate. So this, goes back to my title, Instant Filipina Girlfriend. You know, they believe in love, they believe in marriage, they believe in good hearts, and they're going to fall in love with you. That's what's going to happen. And they believe the next step is to get married and have a family. And now, for most, like I said, for most American men, they're going to go, whoa. And that's okay. That's sincerely okay to put a brakes on a relationship or to let things take time. Like I said, we had a German friend. He went back for 2 or 3 years to Thailand before he was able to do that. He had been divorced once. And there's like I said, there's nothing wrong with doing that. But I'm going to also say on the flip side that many Filipinas are gonna look upon this and think you're wasting their time. And of course, then you get another girl, and maybe she'll be more patient, maybe she'll be more understanding. And that's the one thing you'll find in the Philippines, which is a real interesting kind of expression. You understand me, or you don't understand me. And you'll hear that if you have a Filipina girlfriend. You'll hear this thing, I don't understand. You don't understand me, or you understand me. And when you hear you don't understand me, they can get quite emotional about that. And so maybe if you're one of these instant relationships or instant girlfriend things, after she'll say, you don't understand me. And, what the best way I can explain that is, kismet or heart to heart, or we have a feeling. And that's the one thing you'll find with Filipinas is that they're intuitive. They have an emotional connection, and they'll feel things. Now, sometimes those feelings are completely off, but they're very intuitive, very feeling people. And so when they say you don't understand me, it's almost an insult to them, like you don't really understand them as a person, this connection, this bond that you have with them. Now, sometimes it's just kind of like nonsense, and they'll just say that because, they're upset or they just want to get their way. But on a deeper level, it's kind of this connection, that you have this bond that what's happening without speaking. It's this emotional connection. And so, for them, when they've made this emotional connection, right, they believe that they're going to move forward with it. Like I said, they're very strong women. They're very kind and caring women and sensitive women, but they're also very strong, and they're going to be, they're going to push in a direction they want to. And if you try to stop them, they're not going to like it. But they will accept it if you're honest with them and tell them, what's going on. But that doesn't mean they're going to stop pushing about it. Now, I've seen also in a lot of videos this idea of when you have an instant relationship, that they can become very possessive. And part of that is, the culture, that to have a foreign boyfriend is very desirable. You're considered, it's kind of like points, and it's bonus points or what have you. And they'll say to their girlfriends or friends, I have a foreign boyfriend, isn't he handsome? And he has a great job, blah, blah, blah. And that doesn't mean they don't like you or they're trying to be a money digger. It's just for them, it's kind of a good catch, And so they will become possessive of you, all right? And they'll try to protect other girls from, they may become jealous. Now, of course, if you meet a girl that's overly jealous or overly possessive, well, I don't know. Maybe it's time to move on from that. And of course, but that to me, the over possessiveness also goes hand in hand with their idea that they really care for you and they love you. And part of that is, they're going to defend their honor and also protect you from other women. Now, of course, this can go a little too far. And you hear stories of the girls going a little too far. But, to me, if it's not really overly placed and doesn't go too far, it's just they're trying to protect themselves and protect you, their relationship. For Americans, it may seem over possessive and over controlling. And I've learned this from being in a relationship with a Filipina. It's best not to make too big a deal of things, because usually it's just like a passing, mood. So if you pick at it and make a big deal about it, like, hey, don't tell me what to do. Hey, 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 they'll say, well, don't you love me? Don't you care about me? And they'll get real emotional about it. The best thing to do is just go, okay, okay, my love, okay, I know, okay, come on, and just kind of go away from that. When you make a big thing about it, they get emotional about it, and that makes the situation even worse. If you kind of make it lighthearted and go, oh, come on, let's not get too jealous here, they'll kind of laugh about it. But if you get serious about it and they're emotional and serious about it, it's going to escalate. It's just going to go up and up. And it's better just to laugh and go, okay, well, let's not get too jealous. And they'll kind of back down. But with anyone else that's in a situation that they think they found something that they really love and they treasure, they can get jealous about it. And we've, the green-eyed monster, I think that Shakespeare had said that, the green-eyed monster. No, jealousy, the green-eyed monster, right? And so, that's an emotion. But I think Americans, in a large degree, take it the wrong way. So, if you tell a Filipina, don't feel jealous about me, they're going to why not feel? Of course I'm jealous of other women looking at you, or I don't want you looking at other women, because we're in a relationship. And this goes back to that instant karma thing where it's going, hey, 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 well, slow down, slow down, slow down. For Filipinas, once you are a couple, and that only may take a while, and if you're a foreigner, they may accelerate that a little bit, they're kind of acting normal for them. Now, some may be more jealous than others, and that, well, hey, listen, you got to make that decision with them. But, they're going to want you to meet their parents and their family. And for a lot of Americans, that's not normal. But in Filipino culture, if they really like you and they think you're okay and they want to, they take you seriously, they're going to give you that respect of meeting their parents. And of course, they want you to give the respect to their parents, to meet them. And so, this was a thing that Americans used to do in the 50s and 60s, that you would meet the parents, hello, and the parents would feel, oh, he's okay, he's okay to go with my daughter. Today we kind of look at that as being too quick. And that's also part of this instant girlfriend thing, is that they want you to meet the family. But for them, that's a respect thing. And that's, because, when you see Phil, you have to understand the language. They're always saying kuya or ate. They're always giving respect to one another. And that's part Asian, but it's also part traditional culture. In the US, we don't even say sir or madam anymore. And so, for them to take you to see the family is their way of showing you respect, and you're giving the respect back. But you see, if you're threatened by that, you're going to have trouble with the Filipina, because they're going to look at you and go, you don't understand me. Why don't you want to meet my parents? They're going to think that maybe you're racist, or you don't like them, or that you're rude. And you can put that off, and you can say, well, I don't know if I want to meet the parents right now. And you might feel pressured. And I think, a lot of Americans feel this pressure. And all I can say to you is that when you meet someone, and this is the one thing that Filipinos have, and I'm not going to say every Filipino or every Filipina or what have you, but they believe in love, they believe in relationships, and they believe in people. And so if you don't believe in the Filipina that you've met, well, you're going to have trouble, okay? And that's the same thing like when you marry a foreign wife. If you don't trust them, it never stops. You never stop distrusting them. It just spirals out of control. Like, oh, I don't trust her here. And you're looking around and asking questions and this, that, and the other. And I'm not saying you shouldn't, be careful. I had Filipinos tell me, hey, when you go over there and meet your wife, hey, be careful, you don't know. Hey, everyone says to be careful. But after a certain point, you have to trust someone. And if you don't, then the relationship is not going to build. Now, like if you're just wanting a girlfriend here, I mean, you're going to find girls that find foreigners attractive, but they're always going to be pushing for something else. And they're going to be jealous of other women taking an interest in you because that's the way the culture operates. So you're going to have an instant relationship. And it may be moving a little bit faster than between a Filipino and a Filipina because they find you desirable and they find you attractive. And yes, finances are a component of that. But you know, in my experience, okay, Filipinas are not just going to go after for money. Now, of course, I mean, if you have a car and a house and all these things, there's some Filipinas that will go with you just for that, I'm sure. But to me, most Filipinas, because of the way they're raised and because of their Catholic faith, a lot of them truly, deeply have to find something about you that they like. And if you watch other videos, you'll say someone who's kind, someone who's nice. And like I said in the earlier part of this video, I don't think you would find many Filipinas marrying so many older men if they didn't find something about them that was attractive and stay with them for years. And we're talking about a 15 to 20-year age gap. Now in Europe, there would be, these older marriages. What do they call them? June, December marriages or something like that. I don't know. I forget the American term. But, in America, it was very frowned upon. Now, if you ask a Filipina, they're not going to want to marry, excuse me, they're not going to want to marry an older man. They're going to want to marry someone their own age or a little bit older. But they will try to find ways to make that work. So if you're an older man and you find yourself in one of these instant relationships, or a younger man and you find yourself in these instant relationships, and you're an American, of course you should take your time. I'm not saying that. But you should also know the expectations of the Filipina. Number one, they're very busy. They're working very hard. They expect to get married. They expect to be treated with respect. And they're going to push because that's the way the culture is. And you're also very attractive and desirable. That's the way it's going to be. And so, I wouldn't take it so seriously or like be scared of it or like run away from it. I would just laugh about it and go, wow, I don't know. You're very attractive. And boy, yeah, but let's not get too jealous here. But that's the way they're brought up. Just like if you marry them, they're so protective of their children. They're protective of their families. And so in a way, it's a compliment that they're protective of you in a way, okay? And they're possessive of you. That's the way the culture is. That's the way the culture operates. Now, some may be more possessive than others. Like I said, the comfort zone is up to you. And you can say to them, oh, I'm still, and you should let them know, hey, I'm dating other girls right now, and I'm looking for other girls. And let them know that. Be upfront with them and say, yeah, I'm going to take my time. I've been in some bad relationships and, I'm in a foreign country. I really like you and I want to see you again, but I want to take my time with this. But, your idea of taking time and the Filipinas' idea of taking time are on two different levels. Okay. Now, you may not find that. And some American men want to get married quickly. And, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. It's probably better to take your time with the relationship, but also be sincere about it and say, within a year, I'm going to be serious about this. And if you're not, you just want a girlfriend, then you should also let that be known. But you are going to have an instant relationship in this kismet or this connection because that's how Filipinos are. Okay. And most of them are sincere, but you have to watch your back. You have to be skeptical and you just have to watch for yourself. But I would say, trust your intuition, trust your feelings, and see where it goes. But if you think that every Filipino is a scammer, or every Filipino is after you for your money, or because you're a foreigner, then your relationship is really doomed from the start. I mean, you have to have respect on either side. So with that being said, I wish you good luck in your instant Filipino relationships, and I'll see you next time. Take a look at this lovely background I have. I mean, like I said, I'd be paying thousands of dollars in the U.S. for this, and it's just mind blowing when I look outside every day. It just brings a smile to my face and makes an instant relationship with the weather here for me. So take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.